Greetings, I'm Herbert Erpaderp, and today we're going to have a look at what's in this box. It's got a picture of an Sd.Kfz 234/2 Puma. It says Sd.Kfz 234/2 Puma twice, which leads me to wonder if it could possibly be an Sd.Kfz 234/2 Puma. I just don't know.
Stop trying to be funny!
No. This is a 72nd scale kit from Magic Factory, and it's a fairly recent release, 2024, so currently that is recent. I've never built or even heard of Magic Factory prior to seeing this kit. It caught my eye because it wasn't too expensive, and who doesn't like an Sd.Kfz 234/2 Puma? At first glance I'm quite impressed, though you can't really see a lot through these bags. That's better. Here's the lower hull. It's very neatly moulded. It looks quite sharp and crisp, which is going to be a theme throughout this video. Here's another portion of the lower hull. I'm not an expert on the lower hull of the Puma, or any part of it, but this looks rather well detailed. Obviously I can't point out any historical inaccuracies or other errors in the detailing of this kit, but it does look very good. Bear in mind that this is 72nd scale, so it is pretty small, though they have put a lot of detail into these parts. This is on par with, or maybe even better than Vespid Models stuff, which is pretty good. There are bound to be some mold lines, but I'm having a hard time seeing many of them, which is obviously good. That said, there will still be some cleanup required, just probably not a lot. One of the things I've noticed, because it's pretty obvious, is that there's a few different choices for things like hull sides. So far we've seen 2 sets of hull sides, and it might be surprising to learn that we only need one. Unless I've missed something, the instructions don't tell us that these are optional. Perhaps they're for use in different kits. I've no idea, but I'm sure I'll figure it out when it's time to build. It's still nice to have the extra bits anyway. I don't know what I'd use them for, but they are there, and I could use them if I wanted, if I had something to use them for. You know what it's like. All of the other bits on the sprue look really good. There are some small thin bits in those suspension parts, and I will admit to being a little bit concerned that they might break, but the plastic does feel good and relatively solid. It's not strong like steel, but it doesn't feel brittle. I think it'll be good to work with. Still, some care should probably be taken with those thin bits. There are even more hull side parts on this sprue. That's 3 sets. They're all slightly different. At the risk of repeating myself, the parts on this sprue also look really nice, and there's some more thin, easily broken bits too. Some of the small bits are probably going to be quite fiddly to put onto the model, which, now that I've said it, is really stating the obvious. That is one of the many services I offer. Look at those, I think they're hooks, on this sprue. Granted, there isn't anything to gauge their size by in the video really, but they are very small, and will probably be kind of annoying to install. That is certainly going to make the build take a little bit longer, but I think it'll be worth it, as long as it doesn't drive old Herbert insane trying to deal with all the tiny bits. If you watch the build stream, you may get to witness Herbert finally losing the plot. It's not likely really, and I do actually think this is going to be a fun build. The parts are, as mentioned earlier, nice and crisp, and I can't see anything that looks like a defect. I'm hoping all of that means it's engineered well and goes together without too much of a fight. There's more tiny details here. I won't repeat what I just said, but it all applies here too. I think this is going to build up to be a very detailed little model. Either that or there's just a ton of small optional parts that will be left over afterwards. Find out in the build video. I don't know if this is standard for Magic Factory kits. They don't seem to have a lot out there, from what I can see anyway, and obviously having not built any of them, I've no idea what's normal for this company. At any rate, it's exciting to try something new, or at least new to me. Surely plenty of you know about Magic Factory, and I'm late to the party. Anyway, I heard you like tyres, so I got you 3 sets of rubber tyres. Well, I didn't get them for you, I got them for me, or rather, the kit got them for me. I don't know that they're actually rubber, it's probably vinyl, but they are rubbery, and that's what I mean when I say rubber.
That's inaccurate, Herbert.
I don't care. I've left these in the bags to avoid losing them, which makes them a bit hard to see. I'll try to get a better shot in the build video. There are 3 different tread patterns, which I assume might correspond with the hull side parts in some way, and if not, it's pretty cool to have such variety available. There is photo etch included, because of course there is. It is not surprisingly small, but it doesn't look too bad. There doesn't seem to be any complicated or even simple bending involved, which in my opinion is good. One of the things I like least about photo etch is bending, so this should be fine, I hope. There's a decal sheet with what seems to be markings for 2 vehicles. That's what appears on the back of the box too. Having never built a Magic Factory kit, therefore never used their decals, I can't speak to their quality, but as with everything else in the kit, they do look pretty good, and they probably are good. The instruction booklet is neatly printed and easy to read, and if you can't tell, it's in black and white. In the year 2025, some colour would be nice, but this is perfectly fine. It's not a real complaint. The important part is the diagrams are easy to read and understand. Some of them do have quite a few things going on, but it doesn't seem like enough to cause too much confusion for old Herbert. I will say that it doesn't really seem to explain much in the way of optional parts, and with there being 3 sets of side plates, it's pretty safe to assume there are options. Maybe I just didn't look hard enough. Maybe we're only meant to build one particular variant. Either way, all of this looks pretty good, and that's what's in the box. I think this is going to be a mostly fun build. There are certainly some small fiddly bits, but that's not the worst thing in the world, and it should result in a nice, well-detailed model of an Sd.Kfz 234/2 Puma, and that's going to be pretty cool. It seems to be getting more and more popular for manufacturers to be making very well-detailed 70-second scale kits. I've been seeing more and more of that, and while I do have a preference for slightly larger models, I do think it's good to see. I can hear some people complaining now, though, that
Everything is so small and over-detailed these days.
or whatever, but it's not like this stuff is replacing old, low-detailed kits like Airfix from the 50s, put in new modern boxes, and you can still get that stuff if you want it. It's still there. It's good for the hobby to have choices. I might be waffling now. Am I waffling?
Yes, shut up.
I don't know when I'm going to start working on this kit. It will be relatively soon, and of course, I'll be streaming it live on Twitch. Check the link in the description to find out when I'm streaming. There's a schedule that automatically converts to your local time. Or, if you're watching far enough into the future, there's a link in the description for the build video. Go check it out. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comments section below. Subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of thing, and share the video with anybody you think might find it useful. Consider supporting on Patreon or Ko-fi if you're able. Take care of yourselves, be excellent to each other, and thanks for watching. Farewell.